to preference. This conversation I had it with these two individuals on the basis of trying to understand their thought process and see where they come from when it comes to gay rights and homosexuality and just living with that, being on an everyday basis. The two gentlemen, not to my surprise, one had negative things to say, and that's it's pretty common in the African American community. Growing up as a black man, it's taught to you by other black men, older black men, that it's not okay to be gay and that it's a sickness and a disease, and people who are gay should be cast off or, not respected. The one associate of mine, Quan, said he understood, said he was okay with homosexuality, but he doesn't condone it. In the context of the conversation, I let it breeze by because I thought I had a bigger point to prove. But thinking about it now, that's something that I should have spoke up about. Condoning an identity of someone else isn't for you to condone. Saying that you don't condone somebody for being who they are is very hypocritical. To which I made the comparison of a racist compared to homophilia. Might sound like a stretch, but I think I did a pretty good job in relating the two. Once I made that point, I think the two guys were able to understand, because in an environment that we all grew up in, that's not a talk that our parents have with us. That's not a talk that anybody has with us. It's almost as if we cast out the gay community, and they have to learn on their own just as well as we do. But they have to learn in the darkness of not being appreciated, not being loved, not being accepted. Whereas if we learn outwards of don't ask, don't tell, and I think speaking with these two guys, I was able to shed some light on some of the battles that they go through, that gay men and women go through, especially black gay men and women. One topic came up was about church, and neither of the three of us are church goers, but growing up in the church, around the church, and friends and families being heavily involved in church, I know first and foremost the majority of church goers and supporters are gay men and women who have to hide their identity or play make-believe and mask who they are in public and live another life in private, almost like the Superman effect, being Clark Kent during the day and Superman, on his own time, or finding time to be Superman. completely hiding his identity from those around him, for not only their safety but his own. And sometimes it's to the detriment of those people because they're never able to grow and accept themselves because they do such a great job at hiding who they are. I just thought it was really important to shed light, and I know it's not going to change many people's minds, but I feel like targeting the people who are closest to you, around you, who may not understand or feel the way that you feel, to get them to understand. Another one was we talked a bit about relationships, and I really didn't speak on how relationships are in the LGBT community, because I don't know. So I didn't want to speak on things that I didn't know about, so I could only speak from my perspective of being a male or being a millennial. Being somebody who's 24 years old, I could only speak to that experience. So I think the conversation with the two people that I had it with went really good. I think at the end they were able to look at it from a different perspective. Instead of judging and casting out, I think that they can now look at the world with a different lens and say, maybe it's not for me to understand. Instead of trying to always come up with an answer, they can, instead of not understanding, speak up and talk. Question if they don't understand. Ask a question in a respectful way and hopefully get an answer. This class was really great because I've always thought like this. I just never had the information and wherewithal to speak about it. At the very end of the discussion, I attached a video of this public figure named Mouse Jones, of the Grapevine podcast. He's an activist, a host, a TV personality. As a straight black male who has felonies, all types of, or who has had legal troubles, he spoke to the detriment of the African American community and the agenda when it comes to gay rights and acceptance. His words are my exact feelings. Speaking to the fact that gay men and women of all races, but especially black gay men and women, are putting their lives on the line for everybody else to progress and move forward. And for somebody not to accept that or appreciate that and feel a certain way, I then judge you and look at you differently, because these people are putting their lives on the line. They're making changes that everybody thinks about, that everybody talks about, but nobody is willing to do. Nobody is willing to lose for others to gain, where these people are. And I feel that we have to take stands for them, because they continue to take stands for us, and it's not fair that they're dying for us and we're not batting an eye to help them. Just as in the movie Pride, in which I brought up in a conversation as well, sometimes your best friend is your enemy's enemy. You have to look out and help those who are more in need of you, even when the battle is kicking your ass and you're down to your last life, you're down to your very last of whatever. There's somebody who's always more down and out than you are, and it is crucial that you help them up. Because if you only have one leg and you help them up, you now have another leg to stand on. You now have another person to hold you up and assist you, as well as for you to assist them. Make sure that they're good. 2 people against 1 will always win. So if there's one enemy and there's 2 people, those 2 people can always outdo the others. And I feel that is very important for us to remember that, because so many times when we're in a battle, somebody may be smarter than us, they may be stronger than us, faster than us. We just might not be able to win. But there's always somebody who's willing to help. You just have to sometimes seek out the help. This class has taught me that. This class has taught me the sensitivity. This class has taught me the understanding, through the films, through the discussions, through the tours. This class has taught me more than most, 100% more than most classes that I've taken in my academic career. And I say thank you. And here's the conversation that I had with Teron and Quan. Alright, my name's Parrish.
My name's Kwanzaa.
And I'm Teron Height.
Alright. So the first conversation is what was your first encounter with someone of the LGBT community? First, let's start with you, Quan.
The first time I ever encountered a situation like this was, I would have to say, like, high school. Because when I went to performing arts high school, and you already know, from when you pray for the rain, you got to deal with the mud as well. And that's what you get going to schools like that. So the shit was like, it was annoying to me because of the fact that I had to deal with that in an open environment. Like I had to see these people on a daily basis, and to the point, like, I had to check these things myself. Like, yo, I'm not really going there. It's been times where they came across me, but I don't really take it offense because they just don't know that I don't roll like that. But once now I told you I don't, and if you still try it, then yeah, I'm gonna take it serious. So, freshman year, there's one boy. I didn't even know he was gay. To be honest with you, he was with a girl, and she happened to be lesbian as well, so they was best friends. But at the time, I'm just thinking, like, oh, shit, they date. Yeah, they date, shit, I guess. So, we chilling, feel me, all that whatnot. I don't even know how he got my number, he be being with you. And he be asking me, like, random shit. This nigga asked me on some crazy, he's like, yo, can I ask you a question? I'm like, what's good? He was like, I don't think you might like it. And I'm like, nah, I don't even want to hear it no more. You feel me? If you ask me that, I'm not dealing with that. That's not me at all. And this nigga tried to call me, so I just blocked him off the top. So now it's like, fuck. Like, Mind you, I go to school with this nigga. I mean, I see him in all my classes. It's like, yo, how do you just break the silence like that? Like, I don't even know.
So your first experience with someone of the LGBT community
It was honestly awkward.
a guy hitting on you,
Yeah.
pretty much,
Yeah.
and like not accepting the fact that you were straight.
Yeah.
That's interesting for a first time.
Yeah. After that, but like I said, the other one, actually, my bro Samir, feel me? He gay, but he's the type of gay person, like, and this is the first gay friend I had. That's what I'm saying. Like, he the type of person, like, everybody know he gay, but he's not gonna be gay around niggas, for me. He a regular chill ass nigga, but when he go with when he just be chilling with Johns and shit, that's when he do all extra shit, which is totally fine with me, my fault. And I don't mind that. And he was also a fashion designer as well.
All right. On to the next person. Teron, what was your first encounter with someone of that community?
So I've never really had a bad encounter like that.
It's just in your first encounter.
But no, I got you. Never had a bad encounter like that per se. You feel me? But I mean, I just had when I moved up here, I got like a cool person, Marquise. He was kind of like helping me out with a few things, business wise, just somebody to talk to and stuff like that. But I never got any like vibes to like anything weird, anything crazy. It was more like I made the boundaries early, just by him knowing that like I feel like I've just made it very apparent that like I like only girls. You feel me? And we never had any problems. Feel me? There was this one time at Uber, though. there was this there was this white guy, creepy guy. He asks me if I'm with doing anything with him and his wife. I'm like, wait, what? He's like, we're just weird and we like to have fun. So I'm like, nah, I'm cool. He's like, what about with just me? And I'm like, nah, bro. And then I literally exit the Uber and let this man out of my car. Feel me? But like that was the weirdest it's ever gotten with anybody I've ever encountered. That person wasn't even from around anywhere, I guess here. You feel me? So like, we don't even got to worry about that type. But yeah,
that's interesting. I think that's where I differ from both. My first encounter was I was in second grade. Just moving from living with my dad for a year. I moved back with my mom, and my mom was actually dating a woman. And I remember just like being a kid, like in the neighborhood. One time I went to go hop on the school bus, and this older kid, he was probably in like 5th or 6th grade. He goes, "Your mama dyke." And I had no idea what he was talking about. I just thought he was like calling my mom a name. I didn't say anything. And then when I went home and I told my mom like what the kid had said, like, because I was confused. I was like what even is that? I told my mom, and from that day on, like she had to talk with me about like, you know, gay women and men and, you know, people of that community, like the things that they are perceived by and like what they rather be called and not be called when it comes to labeling. That was my first encounter. And then from that, my mom was just very open with me about things of that community, like having friends over and like informing me like, you know, this is my friend and he's gay or whatever. And before I even knew like they were gay, I was like, oh, these are just my mom's friends. Like, they're cool. Like, they make me laugh. Like, they're cool people. So my first experience was like different. It was at a very young age, or I think I was able to take the information in and be able to grow with it and not see it as a perceived bad thing.
Have you ever watched the show Big Mouth?
Big Mouth, yes, I love that show. That show's hilarious. That show's hilarious. I don't recommend it for kids, but it's hilarious.
But honestly, that's what it really is. Like, that's what kids go through now. Because you think about it, you just went through the same thing. What's the girl named Sarah? The girl who had the Game On?
Yeah.
That's how it really be. And in a more so comedic way, but they definitely had deeper meanings than the extra shit that they be having.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think that your first experience hindered, or your first experience is why you attribute the way that you feel towards people of that community?
You saying, like, do I have like any animosity towards
no,
it?
Just do you think that first experience either helped or hurt the way that you feel, like, toward, like, are you more understanding and sympathetic, or are you more like, keep that shit over there, I don't want to see, hear, or know about the shit you do over there?
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, like, that, pretty much, that situation in life just taught me, like, I have to be more direct and understanding. Like, really, because that's all it really is, communication. You gotta understand, like, that's not what I'm on. But if that's what you want, that's cool for me. This is your life and how you choose to react to it. But just don't put your energy towards mine. I don't want it. That's how you get negative energy.
Yep. And I don't know. I guess so, because I mean, my first experience encountering a gay person wasn't that bad. So I feel like the rest of them wasn't bad.
Okay.
I feel like I went into it with a clear head.
Okay. The next segue. Go ahead.
What I want to add to it is, but because of that situation, it didn't make me look at all gay culture like that. You feel me? Because that was just one person. Just like you run into another nigga and have a nigga moment, you can't get mad at all niggas for that one nigga.
That's facts.
So.
Nah, definitely. I understand where you're coming from. Like, this conversation is literally just about voicing our views. Like, it's not to, like, make anyone not to make anyone, like, change, like, who they are or, like, how they react to things. The way that you feel is the way that you feel, and you're granted that. You feel me? My first encounter made me more understanding and more sympathetic. Knowing some of the battles that they go through, and, like, having to hide their identity. I don't care. Like, I don't care for somebody to be themselves around me. If you're kissing another man, like, if that man has your consent to do your thing, go ahead, have fun.
Honestly,
I mean, I'm not gay, so I don't partake. But like I said, for you to be who you are has nothing to do with me. I don't bat an eye at it. I don't look away from it. Like, if it's going on, like, it's not something that I'm trying to look at. But I'm not trying to look at anybody kiss. Honestly, like, I don't like when males and female, like, kiss in public. Like, it's just weird to me.
Yeah, I'm cool with you being gay. I just don't condone it.
And I'd rather people in general keep intimate contact like that at home, of all sexes and sexual orientations. I'm just not one for the PDA, but it's never, like I said, I'm more understanding and more sympathetic. So for people who have been hiding themselves for years, may feel the need to overdo or overproduce something, and that doesn't bother me. I'm more understanding. Like, I'll ask why, or, I'll talk to them and be like, so, like, what's up or whatever. But the next one is the next question. I was having to talk with you guys about why I don't. I was having to talk with you guys about like why I don't see there's a difference between a racist person hating someone because of their skin tone and their pigment and who they are, and the similarity between somebody hating someone because of their sexual orientation. Do you like see the glaring like resemblance, or do you not see that at all?
I see the resemblance.
Yeah,
I can definitely see the resemblance when you explained it.
Like it's just so astonishing to me where I see, especially on social media, like, or when I see black people do, I want to say it bothers me the most, because we deal with such hate on a day-to-day basis.
Already.
On a day-to-day basis, we deal with an extreme amount of hate, dislike, and being looked down upon. So for you to do that to someone else, knowing how it makes you feel, it makes me view you as a hypocrite and as like the lowest person someone can be. Because for you to pour hate into somebody else's cup after somebody's poured it into yours, that honestly makes you worse.
I got a full cup.
Yeah, that's like they say, someone doesn't become a bully until they're bullied.
True.
I truly believe that. Like, there's no reason you should hate somebody for who they are, or like this gay person. They aren't killing you. They aren't causing you physical harm. So what's the issue?
I feel that.
I definitely feel what you're saying now.
Yeah, like I see a lot of straight black men, just voicing super negative opinions about gay black men, and I'm just like, they're a black man already. They have the same amount of hate already because they're a black man. So them being gay on top of that, you're not making it any easier for them to even be open and be free of themselves.
Yeah, now your hate is on like Super Saiyan 3.
And that is why you get the overcompensation of some guys, is because, or like some people, because when they have both sides given the equal amount of pressure of people who should be supporting them against people who already hate them, when they have both sides caving in, that's when you have somebody who overcompensates and does too much, or does things that may not fit into the norms of who they are, because they're trying to express themselves, but everywhere that they turn, they're being ridiculed, they're being slandered, sometimes physically beaten because of their sexual orientation, and on top of that, their race.
True.
Well, I think overall the culture just has to change as far as it just has to be more acknowledged. I feel like people just have to be more open and understanding, just like we are with weed. As times have changed, so it just needs to be like that time to pretty much step forward and be like, this is how it is. Like, people are gonna be people. You feel me? And nobody should be judged on who they like.
Yeah, but the comparison to the weed industry is, I don't think you can't monopolize a feeling or an identity. Actually, you can't make a financial gain off of an identity, really. There's not like you can buy stock in being gay. Like, you can buy stock into the weed industry now, but it took so many black men to fall for a cause for it actually to bring light to it. So I feel like the LGBT community is actually going through that fall now, to the point where I think in the next 20 or so years, which I think is way too long, that they'll, in some states, it's still legal to fire somebody for being gay.
Oh, wow.
Crazy.
I didn't even know that. That's crazy.
In Philadelphia, it is still a law that you can be fired for being gay. Yes.
They got a lot of gay people.
You can still fire people for being gay.
Matter of fact, it was the movie Philadelphia. That's what it was.
You can still fire, and it is in some states like they still can't get married. You still can't get a certificate to show that you're with somebody for being gay. Like, anybody can go and get married right now at a church.
True.
Not gay people. Especially gay men.
The church won't condone it. That's hard.
However, the most devout church members are gay men and women. How ironic is that?
It's pretty crazy.
Some of the most devout churchgoers and supporters are gay men and women. You can go into a church right now and find easily in a church of, I want to say 50 people, you can find 10 easy. But they have to mask it and hide it. Like, they can't bring their loved ones to a community center night because it's looked down upon. Mm-hmm. They can't bring someone that they're dealing with to a church service to meet their pastor and their board.
True.
Yeah. It's a bad situation. But like I said, that goes back to, I don't know, things have to change. And as this culture gets more out there, as people take more stance towards it, even people that's not of the LGBT community, LGBT community, even people that's not part of that community, feel like it's also their duty to stand up for those people as well. Because just as black people want people to stand up for them when it's racist, I feel like it's that same thing. So I mean, just kind of talking to you today, I feel as though I definitely took away some ideas of kind of a better approach to how to go about gay people being like supported and being more understanding of those people and like their thoughts and how that goes.
I'm glad I could help. I just wanted to kind of share a forum with my brothers, and because we're straight males, I don't think that we ever take the time or the initiative to even focus on anybody else's battles but ours. But I think the biggest battle in winning ours is helping someone else. I recently watched a film in my class called Pride, where these gay guys and women in London actually help these these miners in a whole nother part of like London or in a whole nother part of England, and it wasn't even like for their own like satisfaction. Like the cops were picking on them, and then once the cops had a new target, which were the miners, because they were shutting down the mines, so they were sending all the cops to the mines so people couldn't get in and work. These gay people literally took action and started raising money for the miners so they didn't have to go back into the mines. So they started raising their own money within their own community to help these people. And it took, like, initially the miners didn't want their help because their views on gay people were so skewed. They didn't know anybody gay, and that's why their opinions were skewed. So everything, like, when they finally had to sit down and talk about, like, why they were helping, the miners kept saying, well, I heard. There was no there was no hard evidence of anything. They were like, well, I heard gay people this, and this, and that. Like, there was no, I know a gay person. My cousin is gay or my brother is gay, and this is how things work. Nobody knew anything about gay people. But at the end, like, they actually started working together. And with working together, the gay community was able to raise enough money for the miners to get a union going so they can get back into the mines and support their towns, their families, and their communities. And that was something I thought that was really interesting because, like I said, as black men, we're so busy fighting our own struggles and our own battles of being black men every day that we don't necessarily look to see who needs a bit more help than we do. And to me, that is gay, black, gay men and women.
Here's the thing I don't understand about it. Sorry for cutting you off.
Go ahead.
They show all this madness towards gay people, but yet their ancestors was gay. Like, look at the Romans. Like, these niggas would have orgies with other men and wear togas and get drunk and shit like that. And as well as
but the thing to that is they have no relation to that because it's so far back. Like, you have to remember, a lot of white people, especially, they have identity within a heritage and culture of people. So they don't look to Romans. That's not what they look to. They look to, if they're Greek, they're Italian, Scottish. They look to those type of things. Like, they don't go that far back to talk about the Roman Empire. Like, that's not close to them.
Well, even bumping it up a few centuries up, presidents wearing wigs and lawyers and all them powder their face, plushing up their face, looking like George Washington and shit.
Yeah, that I can't speak to. I think there in this debate, there's some things that won't have answers. And some, even if they do have answers, I don't think we'll understand. Like, I don't think I'll get why they were wearing wigs and fake teeth and stuff like that. Like, but I know in the support for the gay black men and women especially is that
that was completely backwards.
Yeah,
everybody was out the car.
Yeah, we need to. I feel as if we need to be more understanding. Like Teron was saying, like, kind of take different outlooks. Like, yes, it may make you feel uncomfortable, but that's anything when you go into a new. You're always going to feel uncomfortable when you go into somewhere where you don't understand, where you're not where you're being looked at and not quite familiar. Mm-hmm. We don't get why another man is attracted to a man, and maybe we're not supposed to, and I'm completely fine with that. But to disregard someone who may look just like me and share some of the same exact battles that I have to share, I don't think that we should outcast them and make them feel unwanted in a space where we're both the same person. Like, if we're walking down the street and a police gets a call of a black suspect, they're not checking to see. Yeah, they're not checking to see if the suspect is gay or straight. They hear a black suspect. So if me and a gay guy are walking on complete opposite sides of the street, they're stopping both of us. So I feel like we need to bring it to a point where there's an understanding that we don't have to be grossed out when we see like another guy kissing her. Like, I think once we get to that point, and I don't know what that is for everybody. Like, for me, it was an understanding that, bro, like, that's just who they are. That's the person that they love, and that's how you show affection. I don't look at it in a weird way when it's a man and a woman or a woman and a woman. It was only when it was a man and a man when I was younger, until I understood.
Yeah. That's deep. Well, on to the next question. As you think, do you think social media has first conversation? We're going to talk about. Let's bring it to the table. You know, we're going to throw different cards out. Relation.
I would say yes. Social media has changed the way that we look at relationships in total, and like, you know, including like gay relationships. It's made everything seem more about moments than it is the work that you have to put in with relationships. As men who've all been in relationships that have failed, this shit is not cake. It's not easy. It's not as hard as people make it, but it's definitely not as easy as people make it. Social media just made it to where if people don't check off, so people come in with a list of things, and if a person doesn't check everything off that list, they're deemed not in a good relationship, when in reality it's more of a compromise. Like,
that's what it is. Really,
yeah. How many people are you gonna find that fill up 8 out of 10 of that board that you have of goals? How many people are gonna fill out 8 or 10? Sometimes the best relationship might only be 6 out of 10, and like, instead of taking that relationship for what it is and loving that person for who they are, people go outsourcing, trying to find that 10 out of 10. Not realizing that that's almost impossible. Like the idea of getting a 10 out of 10. This is life. This isn't a school test.
True.
Like, you can outsource for answers to get a 10 out of 10 on the test. When you do that in a relationship, that means you're not fully invested in that relationship. It's like, all right, if you ever had an online test, when you're taking a test, How many tabs open do you have so you can search something for that the take-home test on your computer? You have mad tabs open.
Yeah.
You're not fully invested into that test because you're looking for information elsewhere. So in a relationship, those other tabs are other people that you're citing through. You're reading them and trying to get information from them instead of focusing on that test at hand, which is that person that you're in a relationship with.
That is crazy. I never looked at it like that.
Damn, Parrish out here fucking up.
I dropped the bar on that one.
He just,
I dropped the bar on that one.
Starting to feel away. So when you said that was very triggering, right? Now me as a what's that word? Y'all taught me cisgender. Me as a cisgender black male. I'm sick of it. Now I learned that word. I like it. Cisgender, right? It's like what? It means manly man. It means typical man, right? Like you know. So as a
it means that your mind, your assignment of sex.
Right there it goes. I line up for like women. I look like a man. Cool, whatever. Let's say that, right? Cisgender male. Now, I have a problem with that, right? Because I'm a cisgender male, but then another one says something so problematic as another black man saying that our rights or our civil rights, our human rights, or our fight for freedom is being disrupted because other black people who they decide to have sex with. See, understand something. As somebody, number one, first and foremost, what have the Hoteps done? Nothing. Point blank. Let me finish. I'll be completely honest. What have they done? Nothing. They've done nothing. They've done just as much destruction to the black community or to the outlook of the black community as anyone else. Any robbery statistic, any AIDS number, whatever you want to call it, they've done way more destruction. Point blank. That's off rip. Where's the positive? Exactly. So when somebody like me, somebody like you, when one of these cisgender men, when we get shot dead in the street, guess who's not on the front lines? The Hotep's not out there organizing. Black women and gay men are running. So if you sit here and tell me that you can't follow leadership from a gay man or a black woman, to be honest, Frank, you pussy. Because at the end of the day, how you can't listen to somebody? No, give me a second. No, give me a second. Because if you can't take derivative from somebody who's far more calculated to run this, all because of who they decide to sex with, I'm worried about who you trying to have sex with. What is your issue? If they gay, that has nothing to do with you. If they a woman, that has nothing to do with you. Let them leave. They trying to make sure we not shot no more. You not doing it. I can't do it. You get what I'm saying? A lot of us can't do it. Why? Because we in jail. We fucked up. We got warrants. If we come into contact with the police, we going to jail. So hold on. So guess what happened? So when they out here and they putting their motherfucking lives on the line, when they dying, hate mail. When they really dying, there's really an astronomical number of black women dead for no reason, popping up dead. A number of gay, trans people dying. Guess what color they are? They black. So us saying, oh, I can't get behind that because you gay. Fuck out of you, pussy. Get behind them and shut up or stay at home. Yeah.